Waa'aka, the bird who fell in love with the sun, by Cindi Alvitre, illustrations by Carly Lake. About this book, Waa'aka is a telling of a creation story from the Tongva, who have lived in Southern California for thousands of years. It takes place on the island of Pimu, just off the Southern California coast. Illustrator Carly Lake was inspired after hearing the narrative, and she created a series of watercolor images that, together with the text, resulted in this book. This telling includes a couple words in the Tongva language. Those words are ihe, which means yes, and shahot, which means willow.
Muhut, owl. Shuit, jackrabbit. Chavot, fire.
You know, even as a child, I always looked at the land and it said to me, this is where we're from. Momat.
Kiot.
Apo.
The language is a connection to our roots. It's a way to honor our ancestors. It's a way to let them know that their lives matter to us.
This book is partly inspired by my father, an ocean man and a skin diver, with memories embedded deep in the landscape of our beautiful California. He reminded me to pay attention to the details of nature and to share them. Carly and I lovingly dedicate this book to the island of Pimu and the night-night water chick, Cindi Alvitre. The Bird Who Fell in Love with the Sun, by Cindi Alvitre, illustrations by Carly Lake. Waa'aka was born when the earth was soft and the waters were new. It was the beginning of time. One day, Waa'aka, our creator, sat at the edge of the quiet, empty world. He felt very lonely. He thought, I need to fill this place. Waa'aka had many powers and could do many things. He took sand in his hand and he blew it to the 4 directions. The grains of sand touched the earth and they turned into leaves. Plants began to grow. The first plant was a giant tree full of acorns. Ihe, said Waa'aka. Your name will be oak, and your fruit will feed all. The second was a smaller tree with leaves of gray and silver. Waa'aka named this tree white sage. You will be medicine that all might use for good, Waa'aka said with respect. The third tree had branches that kissed the earth when the wind blew. This one Waa'aka named Willow. Shahat will shelter all from cold, he said. The last plant, golden as the sun, brought beauty to the world. Waa'aka named it Island Poppy. Waa'aka watched with joy as his magic came alive. But Waa'aka did more. He dipped his hands into the ocean and mixed red earth with water. Then the winged ones came. Owl came first, for she saw in the dark when no one else could. Then came Kingfisher, who promised to be honest and loyal to Waa'aka. Raven came next, dark and noble, and a good listener. Last was Waa'aka, sleek and beautiful. Her white feathers glowed like pearls in sand, and she became Waa'aka's favorite. Yet, even with these creations, the earth was still cold and dark. So Waa'aka asked Island Poppy for light. Island Poppy pulled a petal from her crown, and a spark of gold flashed in the dark. Waa'aka mixed the petal with a ball of soil As he rolled it in his hand, it grew larger than all the other creations. Tamet, the sun, was born. Tamet shone the brightest of all of them, and he was kind and caring to everyone. He and Waa'aka became friends. One day, Tamet and Waa'aka went walking and found a pond. As they sat at the edge, Tamet gazed at Waa'aka. He was falling in love with her, but she didn't notice him. She was too busy looking at herself in the water. She thought, "Oh, how beautiful I am, more beautiful than anyone else." Each day, Waa'aka made Tamet come to the water so she could admire her own beauty. Soon, she forgot about everyone else. She even refused to work. "I can't go pick acorns," she'd say. "I might dirty my beautiful white feathers." The others saw these changes. They also saw a change in Tamet. He was growing larger and rounder and hotter, so hot that the water dried up, and so did the leaves on the trees. Waa'aka and Tamet went to their council to talk about this problem, as this was the way it was done back then.
"If we don't do something,"
the council said to Tamet,
"we'll all die from your heat. We have to send you up to the sky. Then you can still be with us, but you will not harm us."
It made Tamet sad to think about leaving, but he also felt for his brothers and sisters. "I must travel to the heavens, but how?" Owl, full of wisdom, said. The others cried out, "Waa'aka, what has happened to you? You were once so beautiful, but your vanity has made you ugly." And Waa'aka said to Waa'aka, "You must help your brothers and sisters, not hurt them. Tamet will go." But Waa'aka did not want to give up Tamet, so she made a secret plan. The next day, everyone gathered by the water. They each held part of the net they had woven, and they placed Tamet in the center. Waa'aka pretended to help, but she would not let Tamet go. She would hold on to him as he was tossed into the sky. "Then," she thought, "I will always be with him, and everyone will see me in his great light forever. That will show them." They tossed Tamet up, and he flew to one side of the sky and came back down. They tried again, and this time Tamet flew to the center of the sky before he fell to earth. The third time they put more strength into it, heaving him high. He floated for a moment, then fell once more. They kept going, lifting with all of their might, tossing Tamet high above them. As they lifted the net one last time, Waa'aka held on to Tamet, and they rose together. But as they entered the heavens, Tamet grew much larger than he had been on earth. It was too hot for Waa'aka. She fell from the sky. Her beautiful white feathers burned black. The others looked up, amazed. Not only did Tamet stay in the sky, but the net that carried him turned into 1,000,000 stars that gave even more light and warmth. They were pleased, but not with Waa'aka. Waa'aka turned to her and said, "Because you were selfish, you will not see the light of Tamet. You will sleep by day, and only by night can you come out, so that Grandmother Moon can watch over you." To this day, we can see the dark feathers of Waa'aka as she sits upon the waters at night, waiting for the light of the Grandmother Moon so she may gaze at herself. This is the only light she she will ever know. She is a black-crowned night heron. About the author. Cindi Alvitre is the mother and grandmother. She has been an educator and artist activist for over 3 decades. She is a descendant of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles and Orange counties. In 1985, she and Lauren Sisquak co-founded Mother Earth Clan, a collective of Indian women who created a model for cultural and environmental education. In the late 1980s, she co-founded Tiat Society, sharing in the renewal of ancient maritime practices of the coastal and island Tongva. She currently teaches American Indian Studies at California State University, Long Beach. About the illustrator. Carly Lake is an artist, illustrator, and art educator. Her illustrations have been published in magazines, storyboards, comics, and chapter books. Candace can go. She lives and makes art near the San Gabriel Mountains in Los Angeles, California. She invites you to explore more of her work at carlylake.com.